yet. Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try and stop us. The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
That was Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Waters fanning the flames of violence after the Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade. More massive hypocrisy given the January 6th hearings underway right now and the Democrats' efforts to try to blame President Trump for just that. Joining us right now to discuss the January 6th hearings and the blockbuster news of the week are Ohio Congressman and House Judiciary Committee ranking member Jim Jordan, along with investigative journalist and editor-in-chief of Just the News, John Solomon. Gentlemen, great to have you both. Thanks very much for being here. Jim Jordan, it's great to see you this morning. And John Solomon, thank you for being here. Congressman, tell me your thoughts after seeing Maxine Waters in that clip. I mean, isn't this exactly what we're talking about in the January 6th hearings?
Well, the left is always they're always trying to intimidate, but this decision this week was a win for life, was a win for the Constitution, a win for common sense. And God bless the Supreme Court. And God bless President Trump. This doesn't happen if he doesn't put the right people on the court. I mean, this was a huge victory for life, but it was also a victory over the intimidation tactics of the left. Never forget the pattern here. I mean, it started with the Kavanaugh confirmation, all the crazy things they did. Then it was Schumer on the steps of the Supreme Court saying all the ridiculous things he said. It was Jerry Nadler introducing a bill to pack the court. It was the intimidation tactics they tried to use against Justice Thomas and his wife. And, of course, then it was the leak of the draft opinion. It was a hearing the Judiciary Committee had on this subject matter pending in front of the court on the abortion issue. And then, of course, that was the assassination attempt on a sitting United States Supreme Court justice. But none of that mattered. The court did the right thing, and they said the Constitution means what it says, and we got a victory for life. But again, this doesn't happen if President Trump doesn't do what he said he would do and put the right people on our highest court.
Well, that's right. To mention President Trump, and John Solomon, you wrote about this. The president's legacy was on full display this weekend, not just with the abortion ruling, but also with the Supreme Court striking down the New York handgun law.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to what the congressman said, I just want to remind people, Friday night, legislators in the Arkansas Capitol were trapped by people trying to break into the Capitol, pro-abortion protesters trying to break into the Capitol, threaten the lawmakers. They had to be rescued by police, a mini insurrection in Phoenix. A lot of the media aren't talking about that, but that shows you what happens when you get red hot rhetoric like we saw from Congresswoman Maxine Waters. On this, it's absolutely true. President Trump said he would get 3 picks. He got 3 picks. He picked 3 people that were instrumental in the 2 rulings that came down last week, gun rights and abortion. And now we have a very clear majority in the court that says 2 things. If a right is enshrined in the Constitution, we're not going to infringe it unless there's a very good reason. And if it's not enshrined in the Constitution, like abortion, we're just going to kick it to the states the way our founding fathers did. That is a very clear majority in the court that speaks with that voice now.
Well, Congressman, let me get your take on the gun bill that passed the Senate, and you voted against it. Tell me what you felt about that bill.
Well, the government has already shown that it will weaponize, the left has already shown they'll weaponize the government against their political opposition. We saw it with the IRS targeting conservatives. We saw it with the FBI spying on President Trump's campaign. We're seeing it as we today with the Department of Justice going after moms and dads who have the courage to show up at a school board meeting and speak up for their kids. And now the Congress passed a law which says to states, we're going to bribe states to put in place red flag laws, which in simple terms say if someone doesn't like you, they can go file a petition with a court or with law enforcement, and there's a hearing that you're not allowed to be at. Your lawyer can't be present. You can't confront your accusers. You're never charged with the crime, but they can take your property. They can take your Second Amendment rights from you, and then you have to go then and petition to get that right back, that fundamental liberty John just talked about, that the court talked about this week. You have to go petition to get that back. That's not how the country works. That's not how our Constitution works. That is not due process in any way whatsoever. So that's why I was against this bill. I hope states don't do this, even though the federal government's trying to bribe them and encourage them to do so. I hope they don't go down this road because it's unconstitutional.
I want to take a short break. I want to get to the breaking news that, John, you had this weekend. Coming up, Adam Schiff is at it again in plain sight. More with Congressman Jim Jordan and John Solomon right after this short break. Stay with us.
You can see evidence in plain sight on the issue of collusion, pretty compelling evidence. We'll show evidence of the president's involvement in this scheme. We'll also, again, show evidence about what his own lawyers came to think about this scheme.
Do you have evidence that he directed it?
You know, I don't want to get ahead of our hearing. We'll show during a hearing what the president's role was.
Oh, boy. Welcome back. That was Democrat Congressman and House Intel Committee Chairman Adam Schiff last week saying that he has evidence of wrongdoing, once again, by President Donald Trump, just like he did during the Russia collusion lie throughout 2017 to 2019. 3 years later, we are still waiting on evidence, especially since we now know for sure Hillary Clinton's campaign made up the Russia collusion lie and managed to distribute it throughout the government agencies, such as the FBI and the DOJ and the CIA, as well as the media, making it go viral across the world and misleading the American people multiple times. We are back with Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan and investigative journalist John Solomon. And Congressman Jordan, I want to just say, Adam Schiff, forgive us if we just don't believe you anymore after all of these lies for so many years. The January 6th committee is muddying the waters, or trying to, headed into the midterms. Your reaction to what took place this week, Congressman? A witness testified that you discussed presidential pardons with members of Congress.
Yeah, fake news. The witness said I didn't request a pardon, and I didn't request a pardon because I didn't do anything wrong, and I never, in relation to January 6th, discussed pardons. But this is just more lies from this committee. In fact, we caught him in another lie. And I think this is real important, Maria. We only get to see a limited amount of information because, remember, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't let the people that Leader McCarthy selected for the committee to be on the committee. So we only get to get a little bit of the evidence, and we've already caught him in multiple lies. Imagine how many things they're lying about that we don't know about because we don't get to see the documents and hear the testimony and do the deposition. But we caught him lying about me a few months ago when they altered a text message. Adam Schiff presented it to the country as if it was true. It didn't come from me. It was something I forwarded. He changed the punctuation, left a bunch out. And they did the same thing this past week when they showed a video clip where I said the ultimate date of significance is January 6th in a presidential election in determining the winner. What they left out was that I was quoting the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's the one who said January 6th is the ultimate day of significance in finally determining who is, in fact, the president of the United States. So multiple lies we've caught him in. This committee, I think the country understands, is purely partisan, and they're not, frankly, paying much attention to what's being said.
By the way, we should show the tweet from Liz Cheney, one of the leaders of the January 6th committee, praising the Supreme Court's decision. She was very much in line with all the Democrats up until now. I think she's turned some Democrat stomach with this tweet. I have always been strongly pro-life. Today's ruling by the Supreme Court returns power to the states and the people of the states to address the issue of abortion under state law, writes Representative Liz Cheney. Now, John Solomon, you've written this week about government transparency dimming under Joe Biden. We know that they are trying to control the narrative with all of these new agencies that they're creating, like that misinformation commission that they had to cancel. Tell me about transparency dimming under this president.
Well, listen, the amount of information they put out is shrinking every day. And some of the transparency initiatives that President Trump had put into place, like settlements with liberal groups that get a settlement when the Justice Department takes care of a litigation case, they've taken the transparency away from them. They're no longer going to post that publicly. And when you get to the January 6th Commission, you see this time again the same tactic we saw in Russia. Only put out certain pieces of information, leave the rest out. And so they create the illusion that there's reality there. And then when we dig in and we get the full body of evidence, you find out that what they claim was never true. They've used a lack of transparency to create false reality time and time again, going all the way back to Russia collusion.
And there has been evidence uncovered that shows Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats had ample evidence that there would be violence on January 6th. Isn't that true, Jim Jordan? You've been asking the question, why was the Capitol vulnerable in the first place?
Yeah. especially when President Trump offered the National Guard. They didn't take him up on the offer. I think the reason is because the summer before, in the summer of 2020, you had the Democrats calling rioters and looters peaceful protesters. You had the Democrats saying defund the police. And then all of a sudden, when there might be a concern, they say, well, it wouldn't look good if we called out the National Guard and we had all this police presence here in light of what we've said now for several months in the run-up to the election. So I think that was the reason. But that's something that needs to be answered. But I don't think it's going to happen, certainly not with this committee.
Real quick before you go, to you both, do you think that this changes what we were expecting for November? I'm talking about the Supreme Court ruling. Does this SCOTUS decision on abortion change anything that you're expecting in November? Both the president and Nancy Pelosi have said now this is on the ballot.
I don't think it will.
No, Maria, I don't. I think... Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, Jim Jordan.
Well, no, I don't think it will at all. Look, pro-life people have been working for 50 years for this kind of decision, for the court to say the Constitution means what it says, and this is a huge win for life. I think our people are going to be motivated to come out and vote, and I think all the crazy things you've seen from the Biden administration, it's going to be a big day for Republicans.
Final word, John Solomon.
27% of people in a Gallup poll said abortion matters to them, only 27%. That means the rest of people are making decisions based on lots of issues. This is a pocketbook election, high gas, high inflation, food shortages. That's what this election is going to be about.
Gentlemen, it's great to get you both here.